A doctor walked into an operating room in Mississippi in 1961. He had one patient, a black woman. He had one mission: remove her tumor. He had another agenda: eliminate her future. Without her knowledge, without her consent, without any explanation, he sterilized her. Fannie Lou Hamer woke up to find she could never have children. She wanted to know why. What she discovered would change America forever. Born in 1917 in Montgomery County, Mississippi, Fannie Lou Hamer was the youngest of 20 children, born into a sharecropping family with nothing. At 6 years old, according to historical records, she joined her family picking cotton. By 12, school was over. Labor was her life. From age 6 until her middle 40s, Hamer worked the Mississippi Delta cotton fields, back-breaking, poverty-stricken work that kept her family in perpetual debt to the plantation owner. She married Perry Hamer at 27. They wanted a family desperately. But in 1961, undergoing surgery to remove a tumor, a white doctor performed a hysterectomy on her without permission, without explanation. According to Hamer's own testimony, she discovered that 6 out of every 10 black women admitted to North Sunflower County Hospital underwent the same forced sterilization. The practice was so systematic, so deliberate, that the black community coined a term for it: the Mississippi appendectomy. This wasn't a medical accident. This was eugenics, a compulsory sterilization program designed to reduce the black population of Mississippi. Thousands of poor black women were erased from the possibility of motherhood by white doctors operating under the assumption that black people deserved elimination, not reproduction. But something shifted in Fannie Lou Hamer that day. In 1962, at 44 years old, she attended a meeting held by the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. According to her own account, she had never heard that black people could register and vote. She decided to try. On August 31, 1962, she traveled to the Indianola courthouse with 17 others to register. The plantation owner gave them an impossible literacy test designed to fail them. Hamer refused to be discouraged. She was fired from her job, evicted from her home. 16 bullets were pumped into the house where she was staying, and she kept moving forward. In 1963, traveling to Charleston, South Carolina to complete a voting rights training program, Hamer and fellow activists stopped at a bus station in Winona, Mississippi. In an act of defiance, she and her companions sat at a whites-only lunch counter. Police arrived. She was arrested. According to multiple historical accounts, she was beaten so severely in that jail cell that she suffered permanent kidney damage, blood clots in her eye, and damage to her legs that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Yet she refused to stop. In 1964, according to documented records, Hamer co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party and organized the Freedom Summer Campaign, bringing hundreds of college volunteers to Mississippi to register black voters. That summer, 3 civil rights workers were killed by white terrorists. The threat was real. The danger was constant. And Fannie Lou Hamer stood in the face of it, her voice powerful, her faith unshakable. At the 1964 Democratic National Convention in Atlantic City, Hamer gave testimony before the Credentials Committee. She described the violence, the beatings, the injustice. President Lyndon Johnson held a televised press conference at that exact moment to pull network coverage away from her speech. He didn't want America to hear her. But according to Martin Luther King Jr.'s own writings, her testimony, which was broadcast on the evening news, educated a nation and brought political powers to their knees. Because of her words, the Democratic Party permanently changed its rules. Never again would they seat a fully segregated delegation. Hamer ran for Congress. She lost, but she never gave up. In 1969, she founded the Freedom Farm Cooperative, purchasing 640 acres of land that black people could own collectively. At its peak, it was one of the largest employers in Sunflower County. She built 200 units of low-income housing, many still standing today. She helped establish childcare and women's services. She co-founded the National Women's Political Caucus in 1971 to ensure women of all races could run for office. And through it all, what kept Hamer going? Her faith, her voice, her refusal to accept the limits America tried to place on her. She famously said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." And America heard her. Her favorite hymn was "This Little Light of Mine." On March 14, 1977, surrounded by legends of the civil rights movement, Ella Baker, Stokely Carmichael, countless others, her service ended with them singing that very song. Andrew Young, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, gave her eulogy, saying that the seeds of social change in America were sown here by the sweat and blood of Fannie Lou Hamer. But here's what America needs to understand. Black backs built this nation. Not just in cotton fields, in voter registration drives, in constitutional reform, in housing justice, in women's political power. Fannie Lou Hamer's body was the battleground. Her voice was the weapon. Her refusal to disappear was the victory. Comment below. What did Fannie Lou Hamer's courage teach you? Share this story with someone who needs to know her name. Subscribe to Ike Mafuna History TV because this is the America that textbooks refuse to teach. This is the America that deserves to be known. What untold story of Black excellence do you want us to uncover next? Tell us in the comments. Let's make sure the architects of freedom are never forgotten.